Hi, I'm Beth. I'm parent carer to three children, two of whom have an array of disabilities and health conditions, and then a little 3-year-old boy who's just a little 3-year-old boy. I think one of the biggest issues I have around schools and access to toilets is I'm hearing so many families struggling with getting school to understand why it's not okay to keep the toilets locked and having to have a toilet pass just to go to the toilet. And I can understand the aspect that, oh yeah, it's a disruption to the class or the teacher's learning or whatever she's doing, she, he, whatever. But I also just think there needs to be a bigger understanding that it's a dignity and it's a basic human right, just to access the toilets. To find that a challenge just absolutely blows my mind. We're in 2022 and kids are having accidents in classes. Girls are leaking through pads and things because they're not being allowed to go to the toilet. It's a big stigma. And I think schools need to recognise that, again, it goes back to mental health as well. To be told you can't go to the toilet has an impact. And you're not going to, if you're sitting there with a child that needs the toilet, and even if it is just to go out to get a 5-minute break, you're not going to get decent learning out of that child anyway in that time, because their focus is on, I need to be in the toilet right now. And by removing their access to it, all you're doing is putting barriers to the learning anyway. And I think it's getting schools to understand that by letting them have the access, you're actually creating a better classroom and a better level of their access to their education. It's not about, well, it's too often it can be about power. I'm the teacher, I'm in charge. But who gets to be in charge of somebody else's bodily functions? It's just wrong on every level for me. It's just not, it's there's no dignity there. And I think if a teacher needed to go to the toilet, they would go to the toilet. They wouldn't, there's no workplace that would not allow you to not go to the toilet. So for me, schools are meant to be a place where you're preparing children for adulthood. And by banning them to go to the toilet, that's never going to happen in a workplace. And in fact, it would end up with them in serious trouble. So I think the same should be for schools. I think if you do, there should be a policy across the board, I think, and I would love to challenge that with, maybe the Department for Education, and just, try and kind of educate them on why it's wrong and why they need to have a better understanding around it. And if they do stop a child from going to the toilet, that it's going to impact them in so many more ways than just you've stopped them going to the toilet. It's future. It's the health of the bladder, the health of the bowel. It's this well documented that, it does have an impact and it can cause health conditions. Add in if a child has a health condition already or a disability, and then you're telling them they can't go to the toilet, it's just soul destroying for a child, and all you're going to do is impact their mental health in the long run, whether they've sat there and felt humiliated for not being allowed to go, or even worse, they've had an accident because they're not allowed to go. And that needs to be addressed in schools, I think, across the whole of the UK. And I totally get that, in the class you've got all these children that are asking to go to the toilet, you can't let them all go at once, everything else. And then you've got a child that really, in your mind as a teacher, you went the last class, or you went the last time you were in my class. But to me, that would be a sort of red flag. So why are you asking to leave my class? Because if I don't think you need the toilet, then I would be asking myself as a teacher, why are you trying to get out of the class? Why are you out in every class? What's going on for you? And really, there's a duty of care there to sort of look at, if I don't genuinely believe you're needing the toilet, but you still need to be out of this space, we need to look at why you need to be out of the space. And that would be a conversation to be had sort of outside the classroom, take the 5 minutes, have a check-in and just see, what's going on there. Because it's more than just they want to disrupt your lesson. It's never about that for a child. It's never, I want to cause a disruption to the lesson. It may feel like that to you as a teacher, but there's always a reason. And, it's all behaviour is a communication. So looking beyond the asking to go to the toilet and actually get to the bottom of what's going on for the individual child would be my sort of go-to as an adult if I was working with children.